Good morning, everybody. Happy hump day to you on this Wednesday, July 9th, 2025. I've got all of your stories for your rush hour ride to work, and we got a good one for you today. I always say that, but we are chock full of content. On this episode, we will discuss Bachelor in Paradise, a little bit about Laura Owens as she prepares for trial after scamming multiple men, and also this week, we're going to find out if she renews restraining orders against Mike Maricini, and then Blake Lively stalling on her deposition. We've got a very sassy response from Justin Baldoni's legal team. You're going to love what we have to share there. And then more on Epstein as mainstream media is turning on the MAGA administration, calling for Pam Bondi to be fired following the real botch job of sort of, I guess now saying there's nothing to be seen there. Where's the truth? That's all people want to know. And then more on the flood response after the devastating flood that took over 100 lives in Texas. We've got a very bizarre statement from the governor. A lot to get into. All these stories and more starts right now on The Rush. And the first story we're going to be discussing here is one, I mean, I got to play this clip. It's only 18 seconds long, but it is the top, again by Yelp, reveals the top chicken sandwich chains. I've got beef with this. Have a listen.
Yelp is out with a list of the top chicken sandwich fast food chains, okay, across the country. You see it there. Number one, Chick-fil-A. Popeyes and Raising Cane's are toward the top of the list as well. We got Dave's Hot Chicken, even Shake Shack, known for burgers, was selected as the fourth best chicken sandwich.
Listen, you got to be a terrible chicken sandwich shop if Shake Shack is ahead of you. Shake Shack is a cheeseburger joint at best. By the way, number three, Raising Cane's chicken is the best. That is the best. I will accept a Chick-fil-A regardless of your policies about that company. They're pretty good. They got a good sauce. And Dave's Hot Chicken is good, but Popeye is trash. I'm sorry. It's trash chicken. Unless they want to be a sponsor of the show, in which case I'll eat anything. I'll call Shake Shack chicken. I'll put them on number one on my list. Anything for $1 bill. All right, here is Jesse Palmer discussing this season of Bachelor in Paradise, what it feels like to be back from the hiatus, and a little bit on Dale Moss, the unsung hero.
I'll just say for me, Dale was someone that I didn't know. I wasn't hosting when he was on. Mm-hmm. Obviously, he has a big story. He's a big part of franchise, during his time, with Claire. And so, but even on that season, you didn't really get to know him that well because he wasn't on it that long. Like it was only a couple episodes before they had left together. But that was one of the few this year who I didn't know anything about, except that he's a former football player and I knew I'd probably have a lot in common with him. Yeah. I expected him to do very, very well just based on how he looks.
Not to say that like Dale was a villain at all, but I feel like his experience on The Bachelorette was so unlike anyone else's that he didn't get a fair shake or like an experience that like you and I had on The Bachelorette.
And I agree. I again, you might say, well, Dale's a boring guy, but if that's the worst thing about him, who cares? Obviously, it didn't work out with Claire. And Claire was the lead, so she was also kind of messy. We love Claire. You're kind of messy. She knows it. We all love Claire. But it didn't end well. Of course, he proposed to Claire after 2 episodes, right? Chris Harrison was essentially holding him by the neck saying, you want to get engaged to her? Then they kick them off the show and bring Tayshia on. Oh, but those were the pandemic years when the show actually had good ratings. So I'm excited to see Dale get a fair shot. I mean, Dale's got a lot of noble causes, right? He's got a sibling who is I believe it has special needs, and he supports the charitable organization Special Olympics. I mean, there's a lot of good about Dale. So I'm on the Dale Moss hype train. Here we go. Tiger King star Doc Antle is actually he's been arrested and charged with some crimes. He's going to spend 12 months behind bars. I don't think he's going to see the actual Tiger King himself there. I'm assuming they're in different prisons, but maybe not. Slapped with a 12-month prison sentence after pleading guilty in a wild case involving dirty money and illegal wildlife dealings. Can we get another season of Tiger King? And by the way, can we get Tiger King a fair trial? You know what I mean? They say he plotted to kill Carol Baskin. Did he? Did he really? Wasn't it entrapment? I don't buy it for a second. Diddy is awaiting his sentencing. He's going to learn his fate on October 3rd. Isn't this wild? He's got to wait in jail. Now, again, he's a piece of crap. We all saw the video of him. He's a wife beater. He's just a garbage human. So I guess, you know what? Karma has a way of working itself out. I'm not going to lose any sleep over that. But again, he'll be in jail waiting for that date. And it might be time served. He might be, by that point, he's served, close to a year. So we'll have to see. All right, let's go to this Laura Owens story. I wanted to cover Rich Lieberman, who he's a content creator, and he's in the San Francisco scene. I actually wanted to give him some flowers here. Rich, that's a new Gen Z term for, giving people some respect. But he asked this question about why, and it's just an open-ended sort of rhetorical question, why is everyone so interested in this story, this being Laura Owens, who scammed Clayton Echard, pretending she was pregnant. She's now being charged with 7 crimes. There's a conspirator that's being alleged by the prosecutor. Rich Lieberman was friends with Jan Black and Ron Owens. I think Jan Black, to me, seems like the most evil person in all of this. She's just got evil stepmom energy, although she's the real mom, but she's like a Disney villain in this thing. Whereas Ron was the lovable, successful Hall of Fame radio host from the San Francisco Bay Area. But again, maybe he's a piece of crap too. I really don't know. Either way, here's what Rich has to say.
They're very legitimate questions. There's legitimate questions on both the Ron, Laura, and the Clayton Echard, Bachelor, other guys' accusation, and their advocates' end too. Why are these folks so supportive and so into talking about this case? Are they motivated by certain factors? Are they motivated by just plain outright curiosity? What is their motivation? And if they don't have any motivations, why is this particular case being so heavily advocated by folks? You wonder, do they have lives? Yes.
No, I don't. This is all I do. I can't answer for everybody, but I will say, of course, for me, covering the Bachelor Clayton Echard case made perfect sense. I was a Bachelor show. Like, we covered 3 Bachelor stories a day. We've since veered off to pop culture and political news and basically whatever we want to talk about. But the driving force of my channel was Bachelor, so it made sense to cover it. But also, it was just an underserved story. Like, Laura Owens did a hell of a good job keeping other people from talking about this. Just the threats of the lawsuits. I mean, she packed a serious punch in the emails she was sending to everybody not to cover it. And most people did cower. Looking at you, Nick Vial, he decided to cover it after several months, but most people did sit on their hands and not cover it. So there was a real David versus Goliath. And believe it or not, Laura Owens was seen as the Goliath. Maybe it was all the HCG she was shooting into her ass. I don't really know. Maybe it was the loads of testosterone she took from Clayton. I really couldn't tell you, whatever you want to call it. But either way, I think a lot of people, it's true. It's like the community's justice for Clayton, and people just want justice. In a world of so much chaos and anxiety and fears out there, it felt like we had control over one thing, which is expose this con.
Do they have family in which they have to support? Why this case? That's a legitimate question, or questions also, which I've tried to get to the bottom of. And on that end, they've told me they just are interested in getting to the bottom of it. I agree, and I believe them. Just as I had said with Ron Owens and Laura and Jan Black, that questions that they are perhaps using the money for a different manner, they've explained to me. Now, I don't look that it's all kosher. It's on the
now, of course. So they're explaining to Rich Lieberman that this $130,000 they raised for the GoFundMe is purely just for medical expenses, which might be true. But with all of these other costs on their family's payroll, including how much money Laura's going to owe her legal people, it's very obvious that the family needs the money. Of course, Ron Owens just got sued for $52,000 by Chase Bank. Got to pay your credit card bills, folks. The bank man will come after you. Either way, I did want to say this. I do believe Rich Lieberman is trying his best to get down to the truth. Now, obviously, Ron Owens isn't going to tell him the truth if he's doing something nefarious. Ron Owens admitted to Mike Maricini per a sworn affidavit that I believe Mike's brother-in-law, Colin, I could be wrong, Colin Scanlon, I believe was his name, signed that there was a witness that said Ron Owens told Mike Maricini, my daughter has a tendency to fake these types of things, being pregnancies. So from years ago, apparently, according to Mike Maricini in that sworn affidavit, Ron knew what his daughter was capable of. Whether that's true or not, yet to be seen. But either way, I wanted to do this publicly. Let's give Rich Lieberman a subscribe. I think everyone should, be if you put content out there, you should be able to operate within YouTube's creator program and make a buck. One of the ways in which you have to get approved in the creator program is to hit 1,000 subscribers. I think Rich Lieberman could hit 1,000 subscribers. So if you enjoy his content or just want to support someone in their chance to kind of see the light and try to expose frauds and ask the right questions, give him a chance. I actually like his style. I think he's kind of like me. He's like a rambler. I like that. You put it on, you go fold some laundry, you're still talking about stuff. I'm with you, Rich. I'm the same way. So either way, we'll have to see what he has to say regarding what comes next for the channel. But listen, I mean, when it comes to Laura Owens, it's super fascinating. I mean, it's going to be a gigantic documentary. For whatever reason, it's just there's other bigger stories going on right now, and it's kind of flown under the radar. But those that do follow it do understand it's one of the craziest stories anyone's ever heard of. It's absolutely batshit wild. Let's be real. No one likes calling their insurance provider to see if their medication is covered, especially not for GLP-1s like Ozempic or Wegovy. Ro's Insurance Checker lets you know if you're covered for GLP-1s for free. If you're eligible and want to see if you're covered, all you have to do is submit your insurance card and Ro will take care of the rest. No paperwork, no negotiating, no waiting on hold. Ro members have support throughout the process. You'll have access to your provider on demand for any questions. So join the over 350,000 people who've trusted Ro to check their coverage for free. Go to ro.co/rushhour for your free insurance check. That's ro.co/rushhour to see if your insurance covers GLP-1s for free. Go to ro.co/safety for black box warning and full safety information about GLP-1 medications. And now back to the show. All right, speaking of things that are batshit wild, we have a response from Justin Baldoni's legal team, not Brian Friedman, Kevin Fritz. He's on the fritz. He's responding to the judge in a letter, basically in response to Blake Lively's side as they're stalling. Blake Lively's side not scheduling their discovery, and they're saying, what's going on over here? So anyway, I wanted to read a couple pieces of you. As counsel for Wayfarer Studios, we write in partial opposition to Blake Lively and the Jones parties, Stephanie Jones, motion to amend the case management plan and scheduling order. Last week, Ms. Lively referred to Jones' work as a co-conspirator of various Wayfarer parties. Ms. Lively and Ms. Jones, two alumni of the Van Zandt subpoena scheme, have apparently now realigned to jointly seek to delay their respective depositions. So they're essentially dodging depositions. Ladies and gentlemen, we have deposition dodgers. Are they dodging the draft? The deposition draft? Sure. Miss Lively and the Jones parties have not exercised diligence in conducting discovery. Neither Miss Lively nor the Jones parties, and again, Jones is, of course, the centerpiece of this whole shit sandwich, right? She's the one who alerted Blake Lively that she had all of this damning information that was on Jennifer Abel's phone. Blake Lively cranked up the old scam subpoena, and anyway, so that's where we're at. Miss Lively Lively has not served notices of deposition for any of the Wayfair parties except for Tag. And for that one, Miss Lively canceled Tag's deposition. Thus, the Wayfair parties took the initiative and proposed various dates for their own depositions. Nonetheless, Miss Lively's counsel has not confirmed those deposition dates, has not claimed that they are unavailable to conduct the depositions on those days, and has not proposed alternative dates. I mean, look, what do you want from Blake Lively? She's busy. She's filming the new Traveling Sisterhood of the Pants episode, whatever the show's called. You understand. She's got a busy life. She's shooting the remake to that movie where she sits on the rock as the sharks and the seagulls shit on her. You know that movie? She's busy. Okay. Gossip Girl, Gossip Lady. She's shooting Gossip Lady. It's a reinvention of Gossip Girl, but they're much older now. It's for this older millennial crowd. There is no prejudice to Miss Lively in receiving the footage in the weeks before or even after her deposition. So Miss Lively, Blake's side has said, listen, they've got 50,000 hours of footage. We need a delay. So Justin's side is like, 50,000? What are you talking about, 50,000? And they correct the case here. Very salty stuff. High sodium count in this reply. You gotta love it. The footage is recordings of incidents where either A, Miss Lively herself was present and thus she does not need the video to present her case, or B, she was not present and therefore such footage is irrelevant. Indeed, and although they have not done so, the Wayfair parties would be justified in withholding the footage until after Miss Lively's deposition so that she cannot improperly tailor her deposition testimony to conform thereto. Which is great, right? They're saying, we have a lot of questions we want to ask her. We'd rather ask her those questions and get her on record before we see what the evidence actually says. Regardless of Miss Lively's motivation for wanting the film footage, she admits she largely has it. Citing unidentified public sources instead of someone with actual knowledge, Miss Lively's counsel claims that the film's footage could amount to roughly 50,000 hours of video. The court can take judicial notice that 50,000 hours is over 2,000 days and more than 5.5 years. We understand that the footage consists of less than 150 hours. Hey, maybe it's one of those Stanley Kubrick movies where they just roll all day long. No, not the case here. Miss Lively does not need to review the film footage to her deposition because she presumably knows when and how she was purportedly subject to harassment during filming and in fact sets forth those alleged instances in her detailed amended complaint. For good measure, it is undisputed that Miss Lively has seen the footage because she edited it. As for the Jones parties, it is unclear what relevance the film footage has to their claims for breaches of contract. So there's your update right there. I mean, real salty stuff from the Fritz. But you got to understand, I'm sure, Brian Friedman's getting all the credit as the sort of, lead lawyer in this case. And then Fritz comes in out of the bullpen just like a bat out of hell. And he just throws spices, just Salt Bay, just for all the Salt Bay all over that thing, saying, come on, you edited it. What do you need us for? So again, is Blake Lively stalling, or again, maybe she's just busy shooting, Adeline, Takes Back the World or whatever movie she's got going on next. I don't know. We'll have to see. All right. Well, coming up next, we've got some more epic Epstein conversation, as there are plenty of political pundits calling for the firing of Pam Bondi. That story next.